Just as borders reopen, a long-running heritage festival returns next month with a spotlight on what it's like to travel through the years. But the 19th edition of the Singapore Heritage Fest will not only commemorate milestones in Singapore's tourism sector, it's also going to highlight our rich natural heritage. Lauren Ong with this sneak peek.
Long before hiking along the rail corridor gained ground during the pandemic, trains ran regularly between Singapore and Malaysia on these very tracks for decades. Soon, visitors to the Singapore Heritage Festival will get to relive those memories. Looking out of this window is the view that passengers would see when travelling on the Kereta Api Tanah Melayu train. But the wheels aren't turning for this life-size installation. The train hasn't run from Tanjong Pagar railway station in over a decade. The installation is one of many programs which highlight Singapore's vibrant travel history, one of the two main themes this year. But our trip down memory lane is not just limited to vehicles and sites. It also includes the people with travel ties. A video series will feature this avid fan of national carrier Singapore Airlines, which celebrates its 75th anniversary this year. He's collected its memorabilia for more than 40 years. So Jason, which was the first piece you ever collected?
Well, my first piece of SIA collectible was actually this deck of SIA playing cards, which was actually given by the flight stewardess on board an SIA flight in the year 1980. Yeah, and that actually sparked off my interest with the SIA memorabilia collections.
Singapore's natural flora and fauna will also take center stage. For instance, a garden tour at the Fort Canning Park aims to do more than just introduce sustainable ways of living.
You want to explore the history of these crops and how they have impacted our environment. But you also want to encourage participants to think about how certain things can be reused, to encourage people to think of how you want to look at Singapore's natural history and how you want to preserve that natural history in the long run.
But if in-person tours and workshops aren't your cup of tea, the Visit Singapore app might be a better option to learn about the local culture and history. Complete tasks on the Merli-go-round quest and you can earn coins that you can exchange for prizes. The challenges bring you to 4 cultural precincts, and they can be as simple as taking a picture with Merli over here. This is the second year the festival is taking on a hybrid format. 60% of the programs will be carried out in person compared to last year's 30%. Organizers say there's still a demand for digital media, especially from those who are overseas.
For more on this year's event, let's get to festival director David Chu. We also have with us Ryan Yeo, whose family runs Roger&Sons. That's a sawmill in Sungai Kadut, where they'll have hands-on workshops as part of Singapore Heritage Fest 2022. Good evening, gentlemen. It's good to have you both with us. First to you, David. Take us through what we can expect at this year's Singapore Heritage Festival.
Well, the festival has been around for 19 years, as your correspondent has said, and I think we've always been shedding light on lesser-known aspects of Singapore's history and heritage. So in doing so, we hope Singaporeans can find connections between themselves and the heritage of the nation. So I think part of uncovering such lesser-known aspects of history and heritage includes having programs at places that people are not, otherwise, sort of accessible to the public. So some of these programs this year, for example, are places like Singapore Aviation Academy, which has never opened their doors to the public before. So if you're an airplane geek like me, you get to play air traffic controller for the day, right? We also open, the doors to interesting places like Kinlaw's house, located at Hill Road. And it was a private residence of a Scotsman. It was a venue for lavish dance parties and balls in the late 1800s. And of late, it's been, home to, I think, a few institutions and campuses. So I think, what we can really see this year, as we do every year, is to uncover parts of our heritage that people are not so familiar with. We hope that, people will connect more with it as they experience it.
And Ryan, operating a sawmill, that's been part of your family business for a long time. How do you feel about inviting visitors and tourists in to see and learn exactly what you do there?
I feel really honored and privileged to be given this opportunity to share with the participants a side of Singapore which is rarely seen. Singapore isn't really known for its sawmill or its carpentry, but it's known to be a green city. So I'm really excited to be able to share what goes on behind the scenes when these trees are felled.
And what do you anticipate the visitors, when they come to the sawmill, are you going to show them specific sort of processes and so on? What do you think they'll pick up?
So what we'll be going through is basically form a tree when they are cut down, what happens through the process of turning these logs into planks so that we can turn them into furniture.
So, David, back to you. There's lots to look forward to, and there's lots of interactive events on so that visitors can get hands-on experience. Tell us more about what highlights we can expect.
Well, for one, I think going on a tour, a trail of a place, engages many different senses, right? So for us, it's one of the most popular forms of programs in the festival. And I think we are looking to create more of such intimate interactive workshops, in part because they're smaller in size, so it fits the current safe distancing measures of today. So for the group that you saw earlier, I think John from Total Heritage, they're doing a program that is very tactile and very experiential. It looks at the history of 3 different cash crops in the last 200 years of Singapore history, right? Coffee, pineapple, and coconut. And of course, one could do an academic lecture on this, right? It would be purely informational. However, what we're doing, with them is to do the first part of a workshop as a tour in Fort Canning Park. So you get to see, you smell, you touch these plants. You also learn more about the roles that they played in Singapore's development and history. And then the second part of the workshop, you create sort of your own products through a very tactile process. And products from these 3 plants are, so, for example, coffee, body scrub. You grow a salad, you can eat out of coconut husk. You also create a fermented pineapple peel cleaner. So, I think such interactive workshops are really experiences that people can look forward to. We have many of such experiences for this year's festival as well, given that we are focusing a lot more on in-person and physical experiences.
Well, David and Ryan, thank you very much. All the best with the festival. Thanks for joining us today. That was David Chu, Festival Director of the Singapore Heritage Festival, and Ryan Yeo from Roger&Sons as a family with a Sungai Kadut sawmill operation that's going to open its doors to visitors next month.